morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world of darkness, and welcome to Rage Across New York, the werewolf venue where Kotori will be waiting near his den as he is thinking and preparing some of the ritual for a certain trip that will happen soon. And he is waiting for someone or more persons to come and see him, and he is just chilling.
Olaf trots up in Lupus, which is awkward because while he is walking around in Lupus, he's also actively, without the use of hands, trying to eat what remains of a Chinese donut. So you see a lot of juggling, like a lot of Lupus jaw juggling while he's trying to chew and walk and not drop the thing and chew and walk and not drop the thing, but he's managing so far.
Oh, hello, Olaf. So, we're having a nice dinner?
Oh, Tommy, outside of the sept, she didn't go into the sept or anything. She did the weirdest thing. Outside of the sept, but where I could find it easily, in the greater place where the Hamids are and don't know about us or anything, she left a basket with these things and I guess one of those GPS-y type devices, so I could find it. I left the basket, but I took the donuts, so there's no tracking devices or anything crazy in the sept. I just took the foods.
I see.
Yeah. Michael will walk up, realize that everyone's in Lucas form, and then promptly slow shift down out of respect.
Oh.
And just.
Go on.
And just go. Good afternoon.
Oh.
Right.
Long time no see, Michael.
Yeah, stuff has kind of happened. I do apologize.
It's okay. Those things happen.
Kotori, I have a question.
I like to answer questions.
Do you know how to make a fetish or a tailin that can mask the rage?
Kotori thinks a little bit. So, you want to do something that will allows you to hide your rage. He thinks a little bit, and I'm going to make a check. I guess with creative logic that would make a success. He thinks, well, generally I would say you would need a spirit that allows you to mask yourself or to masquerade as something else, to do something about it. Or we could go for a servant of Luna, as Luna is the one who grant us the rage in the first place. That's actually a very interesting one. I mean, I know that Travis generally just lose the wolf in order to go around, but indeed I can see what purpose we could use with such a gift.
I find losing the wolf to be dangerous, considering the situations we can find ourselves in. But at the same time, I have taken responsibility for one who is not immune to the curse. It would not do with this niece of a Fiannakin, this young woman, were I to have to come to her, especially in time of trouble, and for her to be terrified of me.
Hmm. I understand. I understand the hmm. Hmm. That is indeed something. Something that would be hmm. It could be difficult, but I don't think that's undoable. I will need to think about it, and I will help you to do it. After all, if indeed she, mm, and he makes a pause. Huh, actually, servants of unicorn might be even more useful in this aspect.
Would it might be
Doves.
possible to, I don't know, also maybe do it the other way around?
Hmm?
Give her something that allows her to bypass this
Hmm.
disadvantage?
Uh, that could work, but I would, hmm, I would find it perhaps more useful if we had such a thing hiding under the radar and under suspicion, being able to walk among Hamids without being perceived might actually be useful if, well, if some of us don't have their rage showing, then if our enemies don't know our faces, then we might be able to get them by surprise.
Yes, right.
Hmm.
This is also a potential problem, Michael, if such a Talon that allowed the Homids to look upon us, be around us without their fear, or even worse, without the delirium in the case of our enemies. I do not want to think about that falling into the wrong hands.
Hmm.
He thinks for a moment, and you just see that, yes, you are correct. And it's like,
Kotori and I, a bit more stoic perhaps than you in some ways, we are given to thinking of the ways of war.
fair enough.
Hmm. But hmm, the opinion is still duly noted. If indeed such a thing would be too high level, too grand to make, perhaps it is alternative solution that we can think about.
Right.
Hmm. So, Michael, not that I
Yes.
don't appreciate your presence here, but did you had a reason to come and see me? And he wiggles his tail as if awaiting, waiting for something
Um,
or
well,
hoping for something.
a little of two things. First off, if you'd be willing, I'd love to be able to perfect more of my rituals, which I
Hmm.
know you are a person that can do that. Um, Secondly, as you may have already heard, Lady Lightning the pack has fallen,
Hmm.
and well, you were the first pack that I thought might be interested in picking up a Ragabash.
Hmm. I'm going to I'm going to I'm going to make a willpower roll. Uh, it's okay. The power of Satan helps me to keep my cool. But yeah,
Oh crap! Did I just fuck up?
but yeah, he seems he takes a pause, and even if he still wiggles, hmm, well, I think I
I, the,
hmm
do an empathy check real quick. Perception. That's right. I don't have empathy on this character. Son of a bitch. Why does this character not have empathy?
I I came here to Ragabash, not to feel.
However, that's still four successes, and so you just see something. It's like literally. It's like so. The moment it comes out of the mouth, he sees your reaction, and just the ears go back, the tail goes down. He bows. I'm sorry. Didn't.
You didn't
I,
what?
I didn't mean to anger you.
He just he I'm going. Are you just trying to bullshit Kotori to
Or
do
what do
your
you mean?
Ragabash? When you say I'm sorry I offended you, is it an act or is he
No, no,
just
it's
so I can?
completely legit. You have to also remember he's
Oh
docile and
yeah,
shy.
oh yeah, yeah. No, because Kotori, he knows he's Wait, how did you get for success?
Wild touch gives me two automatic
Oh,
successes.
yes, yes. So he looks at you like kind of like the gift, like he's puzzled. Um, you didn't offend me.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's he is still like low. It's like I I I I. Mm, he growls slightly as is. Why can he not talk? I don't want to be alone. And most of the rest of it is scattered to the wind.
Hmm. Uh, Kotori will approach and he will uh hmm. He makes a pause. Makes a pause as he's close to you and he studies you, to gauge your reaction because he knows that Michael is still very affected by his experience of the past years,
Right.
and he's going to just approach and he's going to nuzzle uh, Ragadash.
He responds actually fairly positively to it. It's not like when you first met him, where the moment anyone touched him,
Hmm.
he flinched. He still flinches a little bit, but once he realizes it's a positive type of nuzzle, that type of thing, he responds in kind.
Hmm.
A little bit, maybe a little bit more playful.
uh, After a few seconds, Kotori gets back to his position and he sits. Well, I would personally be very glad to count you in this pack. However, just as um, just as I gave a small task to Olaf here, I will ask you the same question.
Of course.
I would like you to tell me, hmm, you can either tell me or Uktena, whichever, doesn't really matter. Something that you previously didn't know before coming to this set. Something that you either found out by yourself is a secret, an object, or a story that you learned and that, well, gain you wisdom, for example.
He nods and he thinks. And Hex is thinking. I apologize.
Mm-hmm. he's going to let Michael think a little bit, as he seems to be very focused,
Right.
and turns to Olaf. Oh, also, Olaf, where are you in your own search?
I am ready.
Oh, good, 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 good. Hmm. I then I will then ask you a simple question. Are you ready to talk about this element in front of Michael as a future packmate, but who hasn't yet joined, or would you rather us have a conversation in private under the watchful eye of Uktena? The choice is yours to make.
He glances over at Michael. This one I trust, and also I believe if he was there during Mabe's first change, he might be aware too.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, no. Last night was the first time I met Maeve.
Well, story time. Not something I would tell everybody, but you, Michael, you and me have been friends for a time. This is a thing that you might be interested to know, especially interesting to me because of my bounds of, for lack of a better word, marriage, but interesting to you as well.
Right.
This is something I learned of the Fianna, specifically their high hierarchy, as it were. The current king, Brian MacPhion, sits on the high seat, and he sits from afar of here. However, there are at least some of his kin here in, uh, and he like searches for the best term to say in front of Katori, North America. Notice how I didn't mention the U.S. Um, Now,
Mhm.
from where he sits, there were formerly 6 successors. Those successors to the high seat can only be Garot, but with Mabe's first change of one of his kin in North America, there are now 7 very tiny line of succession. You'll know with Hamid royal families, lines of succession can go into the high tens and sometimes well over 100.
Mhm.
But this line of succession, now only 7 strong, with young Mabe barely a full woman at the very, very bottom. And did Brian MacPhion know of this the day it happened? Did Brian MacPhion know of this shortly after? No, I doubt Brian MacPhion would have known about it if we had not bothered making arrangements to tell him, because Chases the Storm himself has mentioned with no small amount of rancor that Brian MacPhion is not in the habit of putting fetches on his kin, even those in his direct bloodline.
So we have in our lines.
A princess, yes.
That wasn't a joke last night.
Yeah, Kotori is laughing his ass off, like no dignity. He's rolling over laughing.
No, no, no. As Michael literally just sits there, and you just see the paw on the muzzle of the oh dear lord.
Now look,
Effectively, this in Hobbit form or in
look.
Lupus.
Mabe is a well-meaning soul. I have known this since the day I met her, but until she had her first change with us, she was for the most part unknowing. She still holds what you would call a regular Homid's sensibilities.
I
But
noticed.
because of this, And our consideration for it and our consideration for her considerable bloodline and its political implications, she has been handled somewhat differently from other cubs, not necessarily by Katori. Katori Raya is a man of deep wisdom. As he like cackles on the frigging ground, like, but Olaf's trying to hold it together with his
No,
eight
no.
willpower.
I
No,
just see great wisdom as both Olaf and Michael look at the laughing Lucas.
I think. However, when you say man of wisdom, he stops and looks at you like with a puzzled face.
I apologize, Katori Raya, a
It's
wolf
okay.
of great wisdom.
Nah, it's okay.
But with others, you yourself have probably seen, Michael, there's a different touch to the way we interact with her. Now, me, let's face it, on Kin and Cubs, I try to take the more kindly uncle approach. There are other people there to be the master at arms type.
Right.
But I believe, in my knowledge, there's only been one or two that have tried to be a master at arms to that girl, whereas I grew up in a sept that was quite full of them in terms of tutelage.
She seems fairly naive.
She seems fairly naive. She is new to the war. She did not grow up kinfolk as I did,
Right.
knowing from a very young age what I was and what was expected of me.
Yes.
Well, she is indeed very naive, and I think that here people will actually be happy to see someone such as this, but I think they also forget that, well, being a princess doesn't change very much. She's just a cub, just like any other. And if she do mistakes, just like any others, she will be punished. There is no favored treatment. There is no king or kings among wolves. Well, there are the alphas, but that one is different.
Right.
Hmm. There is something that you might have to work with her, however. I talked to her, and her understanding on Belitany is a little bit lacking. More specifically, she seems to have trouble mending her heart and her and the logic that would need to be respected. She basically went above Travis to the truth catcher directly.
You see Olaf's hackles raise and his ears start to go flat. Oh, yes, I heard of this thing. I heard of her going to Morning Kill Raya. Just going right up to him. Oh, hey, I'm a princess, and you're a Silverfang. Let's be noble together. I have to talk to 3 fucking people before I even see Morning Kill Raya for a second. But no, she walks right up to Morning Kill. Like it's cool or something. Yeah, we're chill bros. Great idea. Ugh.
Yes, that is the problem. I tried to make her see kind of a problem, but she is more focused on the fact that what she did was morally right. But that is not the problem, really. It's not a
No,
question of
it's
morality. It's a question of respect.
Yes.
It is in fact a question of respect. The
That
problem
is.
I notice with young Mabe is that when she gets an idea into her head, she can be more willful than the rolling tides.
Hmm. I f- hmm. He makes a pause. Yeah, I will also need to have a word with Kachina. I don't really think it's very wise to have a cub when you summon a black hole spirit.
Nor do I. When I dropped her off at Callie's home, I did not get a full look at her injuries, but the only reason I knew that there was something wrong is because the entire walk back, she had the look of someone who had been in a fight.
Mm. Yeah, he inflicted upon her some damage, and she was slightly worm tainted.
Oh, jeez.
I suspected, but had no way of detecting.
I
Speaking
am.
of which,
Hmm, He's.
before the morning trainings, I waited with others who are aware of the rite of cleansing. You know, it is not the most common rite to know around here, but definitely common enough that when people have to come into training or business from outside the set, there are those of us who are wait at the edges. This is easy for me. I'm a guardian. I waited for her all fucking morning. She did not show up. I saw her in the sept later. I can only assume someone else took care of it.
Mm, I am starting to think that perhaps our dear cub need to be put on a tight leash.
The warder has begun this tight leash. She, so far, is now barred from going anywhere but the sept and directly to Kali's apartment.
Mm, yes, it will at least do something. Mm, we'll still need to do something about going to Morning Kill directly. At some point, I was thinking when I sensed that she was worm tainted and that she had gone outside. Well, she was with Kachina, but I was thinking of forcing her to be in lupus form and giving her a bath in the center of the sept in front of everyone.
Olaf thinks of this and then just kind of snickers a little bit.
Uh, Guitar ride that might be slightly entertaining.
Hmm, true. But there is you, and there is Garrett, as I heard, and also Logan. Perhaps a Ragabash lesson of humility and place among a Garo nation might be useful. Because let's face it, what she did needed to be done. But she made the mistake and she needs to learn that whether we like it or not, sometimes, well, we have to do as our above rank told us to.
Michael nods.
Olaf's expression gives you the distinct impression that he's very familiar with this concept.
But at least she understands the subtlety of the command, of this command. She, well, she understands that she doesn't need to respect those above her station. She just needs to obey. And, well, I think this will be actually the hardest lesson. Because her heart is in the good place, but sometimes the heart makes you do foolish things.
Yes.
Well, I can say that you uphold your end of my little task. So, Olaf, I welcome you into the coils of Uktena. You will now be a full-fledged members of the Hunters of the Lost. You will have to know, however, that with the following of Father Uktena there comes consequences, just as Bear bears his own consequences. Ha ha ha. Pun. Father Uktena, of course, as I explained you, mm, he wants us to find lost knowledge, lost stories, lost objects. However, you will also find that people might be less inclined to trust you as from now on. For we, powers of Uktena, have a certain reputation.
Others may be less inclined to trust me, but will this include those of the pure tribes?
Little brother is always little brother. He will always be wary, always, even of older brother during this time. But those of the Uktena tribe and, well, generally I would say that only the more extreme of Wendigo's son will still looks at you with suspicion. But yes, you will be considered as a brother to the pure tribe.
Then I am one step further in enabling the dream of my heart.
Kotori nods at this, and he will, of course, not ask because that is private for Olaf. After all the members have secrets of their own heart that they try to keep that close.
Yeah, Olaf doesn't look bothered by this at all.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, as far as he's concerned, today is a victory.
Today is a good day. And then Kotori turns to Michael, who had a little bit of time to think about things.
Michael is sitting on his hindquarters. You know, so he's sorry about
Mm-hmm.
that. He's expectant. Ears are perked. He's waiting patiently for his turn
Mm.
at this point.
Kotori nods.
Um, uh, um, well, mine comes down to more. Uh, I was the one that found the acid wells that the Banes are using. It looks like to siphon the energy from the dying river in the Umbra. I know the knowledge of where that is.
Mm-hmm. Can you can you tell me more about this? I had heard rumors about apparently a salmon fish.
Oh,
Is it
what?
related to that?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
He's asking you if this has anything to do with the rumors he heard about something related to salmons or fish.
Not that I know of. I know there are breeder Banes that need to be dealt with down there as well.
Okay. You were referring to out of character. You were referring to the tree.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't catch the mention of a tree.
I was
Mhm.
saying the river because that's how he knows it. He knows
Mm,
of the tree, but but the river is where
okay.
he was following.
Okay, no, because yeah, I made the link with river salmons and
Oh
things.
no, yeah, you guys had the super salmon.
Mm, okay, I see. You are indeed you are indeed a scout, going before everyone to lighten up the path in the darkness. I accept you joining this pact, of course, as a son of Uktena. I don't need to explain to you what our father asked of us.
Of course.
I hope that you will find with Olaf, me, Cloud by the Abyss, and Vigilant Bow a pack that you are looking for, and if you need, and he makes a pause. If you need to talk or feel that perhaps some ties are not close enough to you, come to talk to me.
Thank you.
I want those who follow me to at least understand that a pack is not just a gathering. A pack is something more. It is a family. It is a group. Something that I find sometimes homies tends to forget. It is good to have brothers who can help you in your time of need. We are not just a fraternity of warriors. We are more than that.
That's right.
Mm.
Thank you.
All right. And he seems to think a little bit. Hmm. So I had something that I was working with Ren and Grins and Smoke, but those two, well, Ren got back to one of the sept of the Children of Gaia to go for a rite of passage. But I might talk to you about this, and if you wish to be the one carrying this task, then I will gladly help you in any way I can for you to achieve it. When I talked with those two, we thought that, well, as you may have seen, this sept is not very aware of the ways of the worm. It is something that eludes them. All the worm foes that I've seen, none of them possessed the gift of the knowledge of the great enemy, and I had to personally educate them every single time. I think that perhaps something that could be done in this pack as we remember remember those who have been lost. Perhaps a symbolic triad could be something interesting. I would like two of my pack members to go and find lores about the wild and about the weaver. If we understand how the wild, the weaver, and the worm works, we might be able to be more efficient. For too much have we been clueless of the wild, and obviously we are utterly dependent of Emmet. But Emmet and Thief of Titanium are only two Garus. We need to know more about the Weaver, just as we need to know more about the Worm and the Wild.
I will take on the task of the Weaver. I have earned the respect of Emmet, and I have earned the respect of Glasspaw. And between the three of us, unless you, Raya, have been to the Cyber Realm, I would be the only one who has visited.
Kotori chuckles a little bit. Oh, I've been there. I've faced a tank or something, a giant thing with giant weaver tech. It was interesting and not fun at all.
On that, we are agreed.
Yes.
Mm.
I still
And
haven't.
mhm. Go on, Matt. I
No,
didn't
that's
quite
fine.
hear it.
It's like I have not been to this realm yet,
Mm.
but I can start picking up the lores of the wild if you wish.
Mm. It is only if you wish so. There are still other members of the pack who could take up that lore, but if you want to attune yourself more and learn about the wild, then I will be honored if you would learn about this.
I would be willing to trade it for you for that or the worm you have.
Um, what did you say? I heard trade.
Yes, he says I will gladly trade that for your lore of the worm that you have, and he just kind of has that really sly little look because it was one of those things that we were talking about earlier,
Mm,
several weeks ago, that I needed something to trade
mm,
for your worm lore.
mm. And Kotori smiles. Ah, I see that you haven't forgot the old ways.
No, no, Raya, I have not.
Hmm. Well, with that, we will be more attuned than with Xavier learning about the ways of the dead. I think that we will be, well, the living library of the Sept. It is always good to have knowledge.
Of course.
But, and he turns to Olaf, with a very serious look. We have we have an Arun, as you know, who is water. But as you are a Ghetto Federer and also a Philodox, I expect you to be the compass of this pack. This pack had problems. Unfortunately, Philodox, they don't last long with us. And we need your auspice more than ever as we always have to go deeper to gain the knowledge. Sometimes we need a cool head to make us remember that perhaps we should think twice about the price that we should pay for this knowledge.
Yes.
I will serve this role as I would for any other.
He nods. Good. Hmm. I will organize a small hunt with our cub just to see what she can do on those four legs. If any of you wish to join this hunt, I will be glad to accept your presence.
I'd be more than happy to do it with you, Raya.
I missed having Ragabash around.
Now, I have to get better. Being trapped in there has sapped a lot of what I was,
Hmm.
and so I'm recommuning with it.
Have you have you talked with Laughing Shadows?
I have. I was part of his test group a while back.
Ah, good. But I would suggest to you that the next person you visit is Logan.
Okay.
He is a black Fury Metis Ragabash. He was the fool during the previous moot,
Okay.
and a great fool he was.
You always have to remember the Ragabash are not just the stealth people, we are the questioners.
Yes, I expect you to embrace fully your role. I wouldn't have it any other way.
That is usually where I go more, is the questioning, why are we doing
Mm.
something?
And with that, could we stretch a little bit? Alright, then let's go and commune with Uktena so that he can accept you as his children, or
Of
any,
course.
or he turns to Michael, or to have a second coming.
It'll be nice to see an avatar of Uktena.
Mm. And with that, unless someone wants to add something, I guess we can call it a scene.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Mm. Thank you, players, for playing, watchers for watching, and we will see you next time.